Hey family, 𝘃𝗶𝗱𝗲 on the channel connecting you to your destiny, brought to you by Botani Got Candles and More. And if you haven't had the opportunity, please tap on that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. What a year, guys. 2022 is in full swing. I hope it's going well for everybody. It's been quite hectic. Bringing you the fourth and final installment on La Letra Del Año, Odu of the Year, 𝗿𝗶𝗸𝗲𝗍 or 𝗿𝗶𝗸𝗍𝗲, right? Couple other topics that I wanted to touch on before we brought this full circle and started delving into other aspects of videos within the channel. Based on the story that we've already touched on in previous videos, such as the one between Oshun Yemaya and the husband who met his untimely fate when one of them sought revenge based on the way the husband had treated their sister. The Odu says that we have to be very careful with relationships, right? Maintaining our partners happy, fulfilling our obligations to them, and making sure that we're attentive to what's going on in our home, right? An Orisha that is very important in this sign is 𝘄𝗶𝗱𝗏, right? We were going to delve into 𝘄𝗶𝗱 in this one. And he probably is the most important one, being that he has the most influence. And one of the things that first manifested in this Odu of 𝗿𝗶𝗸𝗍𝗲 was something known as the Oshaifa, or the process of attending to Ifa every 4 days. And what occurred here is that Orunmila one day performed divination and this Odu was revealed, where Ifa said that he had to frequently attend to his deities, primarily 𝘄𝗶𝗱, and that 𝘄𝗶𝗱 was actually going to be attended to on the same day he was. And that's why 𝘄𝗶𝗱 is attended to on Oshaifa. And he started doing this pretty consistently, and 𝘄𝗶𝗱 became very pleased with him. But it was even more important because 𝘄𝗶𝗱 knew that somebody wanted to eliminate Orula. And the person that wanted to eliminate Orula, like in so many other patakis, was Hiku, or death, right? When death came to Orumila's home to penetrate and ultimately take his life, 𝘄𝗶𝗱 was waiting at the door. One of the Odus that says why 𝘄𝗶𝗱 goes so close to the door, or even outside, right? To greet people coming in. And they saluted each other. They knew each other very well. And Hiku said, yeah, I'm coming to take Orula. And Elegua said, well, how about this? Have an appetizer before you take the main course, you know? And Hiku said, you know, that's a great idea. What do you got there? He's like, I got some fish. I got some rat. I got a couple different things. Let's share and let's have a drink together. And Hiku said, for sure. So they started interacting and sharing and enjoying. And when Hiku had its fill and was ready to take Orula, he started making his way towards the door. And Elegua said, where are you going? He said, well, I'm going to do what I came here to do. And Elegua said, you can't do that. And Hiku said, why? He said, because universal law says you can't kill who fed you. And that food was given to me by Orula, and you consumed it. And Hiku looked at Elegua and he said, you know, no one can mess with you. No one can outsmart you, right? And Orula reaps those benefits because he's loyal and because he's obedient to Ifa. I hope he keeps up this practice, because by way of this, he's not only going to become immortal, but he's going to save many lives. So I recommend you even teach this process to your children and your followers. And when Orula came out of the house and he saw Hiku walking away, he asked Elegua what was going on, and Elegua made it very clear, you know, based on your obedience to Ifa and me, I was able to save your life. So this Odu says it's very important to at least be taking care of your Orishas once a week. If you're not doing the formal process of the Oshaifa, perfectly fine. Some people do, some people don't. But it is something that, you know, we have to be frequently doing as far as taking care of our Orishas on a weekly basis. Specifically 𝘄𝗶𝗱, right? In the New World, we have the concept of Monday. It can be any day that you do religiously. Just make sure that we're staying up to date with our Orishas here so that we don't have phenomenons come into the house. Because 𝗿𝗶𝗸𝗍𝗲 says we have to protect the house, we have to preserve the house. And in this sign, Hiku tried to visit the house. So let's make sure we have 𝘄𝗶𝗱 attended to, we have him in the right place, we're on top of our Orishas, 𝘃𝗶𝗱𝗏, etc., so that we don't have any issues moving forward in these next 3 quarters of what 𝗿𝗶𝗸𝗍𝗲 is and what 2022 is and will be, right? This Odu also speaks a lot about 𝘄𝗶𝗱 and his natural manifestations, right? When 𝘄𝗶𝗱 was placed at the front of Orumila's home, or at the front of a village, he was manifested by way of the Yangi stone, which is a laterite stone usually found in rivers in Nigeria and other places of the world, where 𝘄𝗶𝗱's spirituality lives, right? And this Odu speaks of it and why it needs to be preserved and attended to, because in this sign, Olodumare chose to manifest 𝘃𝗶𝗱𝗏 physically through that stone, and it had to be preserved, being that it was so delicate, right? And to be on 𝘃𝗶𝗏's good graces or in his good graces, people had to attend to it with the red palm oil, the offerings, etc., to preserve it. Because unfortunately, in this sign, the stone broke. And when that happened, the spirituality of 𝘃𝗶𝗏 left. That's why we can only use one stone per 𝘃𝗶𝗏 in this sign. So once again, speaking of how important it is to attend to 𝘃𝗶𝗏, making sure we're preserving him and making sure we're making him feel welcome so that we never see any negative repercussions from him or just him not protecting us in general at that moment, right? In this sign, there's also a story, or a pataki, that speaks of a gentleman who was a lumberjack and a carpenter, right? And his business wasn't doing very well. He went for divination where Orunmila told him that he needed to provide sacrifice to the Orisha Elegua. And he did so. And Elegua gave him a business proposition and said, how about me and you start commercializing together? And the carpenter said, well, how can we do that? And Elegua said, how about this? You cut wood and you know how to carve it, you're a carpenter. You just start making things, you know, like furniture and stuff like that. And I'll be sure to bring you the clientele, just give me 10%. And the lumberjack was like, yeah, no problem. He started cutting lumber, he started doing his carpentry thing, and before you know it, he had a rooms to go going. He was selling so much furniture, he became a millionaire practically overnight. He was rolling in the dough. In the beginning, he was holding up his end of the contract where he was giving 𝘃𝗶𝗏 his decimal, right? But with time, the guy became very self-absorbed and, you know, was making so much money and clientele and all these things. He was coming up short with Elegua. So Elegua started getting a little frustrated because if there's one thing you don't want to make Elegua feel is unwanted or underappreciated. So what he did was, because 𝘃𝗶𝗏 is just something else, he sent termites to the guy's business. And the termites, what they would do is they would wait until the client took the property home, and then the termites would start eating it, and then it would basically be destroyed. So I guess the guy was giving a warranty. They would go back and tell the guy, hey, your product is no good. You know, we almost died. We're going to do a lawsuit, all these things. And the guy couldn't understand why his furniture was lacking such integrity now when he had never had that issue before. So he went to see the Babalao again. And the same Odu was revealed, of 𝗹𝗶𝗸𝗶𝗏, where Ifa said, there's something you owe to 𝘃𝗶𝗏. And the guy quickly realized, yo, I got a lot of back pay and credit with 𝘃𝗶𝗏. I need to go pay him. And when he went, he brought 𝘃𝗶𝗏 the money, and Elegua looked at him and he said, oh, you remembered me. He said, I'm really sorry. I got a little taken away. It's not personal. It won't happen again. And Elegua said, make sure it doesn't, right? In this pataki is explained why the religious professional, when they asked for a derecho or a cost, you're always going to see the number 1 at the end. Let's say to do something, the religious priest is asking you for $21, right? Or why 𝘃𝗶𝗏's multiples, the odd numbers, kind of end in 1 sometimes. That's in the Odu of Hunle, because that $1 is actually supposed to be allocated towards 𝘃𝗶𝗏 to be able to buy him things and make him feel appreciated, and, you know, so that those funds never stop and the religious professional can actually make a living doing what they enjoy, right? And they do so competently. So Ifa is saying in this Odu, it's very important to give 𝘃𝗶𝗏 his just due, whether it's the Oshaifa, whether it's the random act of kindness, whether it's a piece of spiritual work that you've done. Make sure you break him off. That way, you don't end up like the guy in the story. There's another way to interpret it, speaking of the bones in the skeletal system, where the termites started consuming the furniture. Well, when we talk about the human body, our furniture is our skeletal system. So Ifa says in this Odu, we have to be very careful with our bodies, degenerative conditions, making sure we're staying limber, making sure we're leading a healthy lifestyle and consuming the right things so that we don't start falling apart or conditions getting worse. And even though, you know, COVID seemingly is on its way out, its way in, however you want to interpret it, regardless of COVID, please protect yourself from all the other things, you know, that could affect the human body, right? So it speaks of that. In this Odu, 𝘃𝗶𝗏 actually consumed fish. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to provide fish to him this year. It's one of his favorite things in conjunction with smoked rat as well as corn. But, you know, he utilized it pretty frequently here. It was offered to him. Not a bad food item to provide to him, right? And I want to close or bring things full circle with a proverb that is in this Odu or sign. It says, to the east or to the west, my house is the best. If we interpret this proverb, or this owe, 𝗀𝗲𝗍𝗂 is saying that we need to be home. So if we're talking about gentlemen, right? Be a family man. Be there for your wife, your partner. Be there for your children. Make sure your presence is felt within the home. That stabilizing energy that the man provides. It's very key and very important here. And it's also great for everybody to do so that we're avoiding issues and phenomenons outside of the home. Ladies, fulfill those roles, whichever roles you are fulfilling within your home, right? Nothing stereotypical. Sometimes we cook. Sometimes we're changing a tire. Sometimes we're superwoman and we're doing everything. Whatever the roles are in your home, make sure everybody's fulfilling them so that things don't fall apart. Because in this sign, 𝘃cie, by way of the termites, started destroying the home. So we have to be up to par with our home. Socially, emotionally, physically, all of the aspects, so that this can be a prosperous year and not one of loss, right? Guys, thank you so much for watching once again. We are over 6,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for your patience with these videos. We have a slew coming out this week. A couple things I want to mention before we disconnect. 𝗏𝗲𝗍𝗂𝗋𝗇𝗏.com is up and running for all of your spiritual needs and goods. If you need it, we got it. We'll send it to you as long as it doesn't break. We sincerely appreciate all the support. All your products and needs can be found there. And sincerely from me, Botanica Candles and more, we want to say thank you. Thank you for watching us once again. And until next time, take care, guys. 𝗀𝗶𝗸𝗲𝗍. Have a blessed night.